Good morning. So today I am going to make some homemade biscuits for breakfast. Yesterday was my birthday, and a sweet little girl at my church, her and her dad, they raise bees, and she collected this honey just for me for my birthday. So we're gonna have some homemade biscuits and some butter and homemade honey from local bees. So we're excited about that. So the recipe I'm going to use is from this cookbook. I have had this cookbook as long as I can remember. I don't know, my mother probably bought it for me pretty early on in my marriage. So this is the cookbook I'm using. It's called Cooking Up Country Breakfast, and I use it quite a bit. It's pretty tattered. And the recipe that I'm using is this Southern Gal biscuits recipe. So that's what I'm going to be making. So I have all of my supplies and ingredients out, and I'm just going to get started. So here we go. That's my oven. It's heated up to 400 degrees. So in this bowl I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I don't think I'm going to add any sugar. It calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar, but because we're having honey on the biscuits, I don't think I'm going to put any in today, but that makes them taste really good. I usually don't put sugar in them when I make gravy and biscuits either, simply because it's more, I don't know, just tastes more rustic without them. So it also calls for 4 teaspoons of baking powder. So we'll put that in. So this bowl, show it to you, it's super heavy. I bought it at the thrift store for, I think, a couple dollars, and I bought it because when I make like homemade banana pudding, I'd like to be able to see through the bowl to see how pretty it is, so that's why I bought it. But today I thought it'd be good to use to make the biscuits since you can see through it. So I have my all-purpose flour, my baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt. Oh my goodness. Half teaspoon of salt and cream of tartar. I don't really know what this is for. If any of you know what cream of tartar does to a recipe, let me know. I don't really know, but I've been putting it in my biscuits for years. So half a teaspoon of that. And then I'm going to stir that up, mix it up really good. And then the next thing I'm going to do, it calls for a half a cup of shortening. I most of the time don't have any shortening, any Crisco or lard or anything like that in my house. So I just always use, most of the time, margarine, a stick of margarine or a stick of butter. I think last time I made these with butter, the butter just kind of melted and just ran everywhere. I mean, the biscuits tasted really good, but I don't know what it was about the butter. So I got this all stirred up, and now we're going to cut up the butter and put it in there. So I have 1 stick that calls for half a cup of, I have margarine today. So I'm just going to cut it into little pieces, put it in there. Makes it easier to cut up the dough with my pastry cutter. So there we go. Walter, my dog, is in here watching. So this is my pastry cutter. I bought it at a yard sale many years ago. But it works and I love it, and so I'm just going to cut up the butter into my flour mixture and Okay, sorry for the pause. I had something I had to take care of. But I'm just cutting up the butter into the the margarine into the flour in as little pieces as I can. Actually, biscuits are very easy to make, I think. And I know everyone has their special recipe that they use. Funny thing, I was telling my mother that, well, my daughter had wanted me to make biscuits and gravy on the video, and so did my dad. And so my mother and I were talking about it, and my mom said that her biscuit recipe is popping a can open on the side of the counter and peeling it and putting it in the oven, which we had a good laugh about that. But my mom makes good biscuits too, when she makes homemade. But I thought that was pretty funny. All right, this looks really good. So now I'm going to make like a well inside here. And I'm going to pour 2/3 cup of milk. This is 2% milk. So I'm going to pour that in there. I know a lot of people make biscuits with water, but I've never done that. And then 1 egg. And then I'm going to get a fork and beat up my egg. And as I do that, I'm going to pull in my flour mixture. Kind of like when I make cornbread. I make a well and then do my wet mixture into my flour mixture. So I'm just going to get this until it's mixed up. Not too much, because I still have to roll it out to make the biscuits. So just enough. And I think that's what I'm going to do. There's still lots of loose stuff in there, but I'll put it together when I knead out the biscuits. So I'm going to get my counter ready to actually roll out the biscuits. Okay, so I'm going to put a little all-purpose flour on my counter. I don't have a lot of counter space, but you just make do with what you have. I'm going to use my Mama's scoop that my mother gave to me, and I love it. So I'm just going to dig in there, put some flour on the counter, and then I'm going to dump this all out. Actually, I think I'll try to get it together just a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to put this on the counter, and then I'm going to dump all of this on top of it. And I guess you can't really see it. I'll try to move it this way more. So I'm just going to press all those loose ends together and just knead it a little bit until I can knead it out so that I can cut my biscuits, which that feels pretty good. I don't like to touch it a lot because it makes your biscuits more tough, and I like them to be tender. So I'm just going to press these out. I don't use a rolling pin unless I'm making a pie. Other than that, I kind of just do it with my hands, or maybe some sugar cookies I might. And we like our biscuits pretty thick, so I'm not going to press them out too much. I have my biscuit cutter, And I'm just going to start on the edge and work my way around. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. And then I have my Pampered Chef stone, which I've had for years. And I'm going to put my biscuits on there. Hopefully these turn out really nice. They usually do. I know my husband's excited about them. And then the rest of the dough, I just gather up, squeeze it together, and then I'll just pat it out again. I think I put way too much flour, but better that than not enough. Pat it out to where I can maybe make 2 more. There's 1, 2, just 2 more. And then this one, this is what I like to do. I like to just take it and then put it inside my biscuit cutter and just form it. And sometimes it ends up being the thickest biscuit, but which it looks like it is, but that's okay. I was watching a video of a lady making biscuits who lives in the Appalachian Mountains. And she said that if you have your biscuits touching, they'll be more tender biscuits, but if you leave them not touching, they'll get harder on the outside. And I never really thought about that, so I am leaving mine to touch so that they'll be all nice and fluffy. So here are, so here are my homemade biscuits sliding off of my cooking stone. So here they are. I'm going to put them in the oven and bake. And I believe they bake for, let's see, they bake for about 12 to 15 minutes. My oven isn't very good, so 15 to 20 minutes possibly in my oven. So I will show you the finished product when it is all baked. So while the biscuits are finishing up in the oven, I'm going to make some fried eggs to go with the biscuits for us to eat for breakfast. So I have my pan heating up. It's starting to get pretty hot. So I think I'm gonna, I'm not gonna use any butter or bacon grease or anything. I'm just gonna use some Pam on there. Once that gets pretty heated, I'll put the eggs in there. The biscuits are looking really, really good, and they smell really good too. So we'll let that heat up just a little bit more. And then I'm gonna crack my eggs in there. I have 4 eggs left, so I think I'm just gonna make them all. There's 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got a little shell in that one. Let's get it out. All right, there we go. And then egg number 4. Quite a bit of pepper on them. My daughter likes tons of pepper on her eggs. And then just a little bit of salt. And then I'm going to let those heat up. And When my kids were growing up, my daughter was always very picky about her eggs. They had to be a certain way, and they had to have lots of pepper on them. And so I think making eggs is something that you just have to keep doing. Especially when your family all likes them different. My husband likes them just done. Still likes the yolk to be nice and runny. So I've just kept practicing and practicing and practicing, and I think I've gotten pretty good at it, but sometimes they don't turn out at all. So we'll just keep these cooking, and I'm going to check on the biscuits. I can smell them. Can you see them? No? I think I'm going to turn them a little bit. I think they're done. I just want them to get just a little bit brown, and then I will check back on them after that. Okay, I think the biscuits are done. I'm going to get those out of the oven. The eggs are just almost finished. So here are the biscuits. They look really good. Yeah, they're done. They're not super brown, but that's okay. So here they are. And then I'll bring this over here. I have my eggs covered with the baking pan because I don't have a big enough lid. But here are the eggs cooking. Whoops, sorry about that. Here are the eggs cooking. And I'm going to bring those up because they look really good right now. So I'll put you back over here. I'll get my eggs up. Flip them once just to make sure that the whites are all the way done. And then I'll put the plate together and show you guys what we got. There's one egg, 2 eggs. Okay. I like mine kind of cooked like that. So I will put a plate together, and then I will be back to show you what we've done. All right, I got my biscuits on there. I put a little bit of butter. I'm going to drizzle a little bit of this fresh honey on the biscuits. And then this is all ready to eat. So here is the finished product. We've got some eggs, fried eggs, and biscuits with butter and honey. So these are my Southern Gal biscuits, and I've been making them for years. So I hope you try it and enjoy. Thanks for watching.